and the country as a whole. Tonight, we are just holding this gathering to further these purposes. We have a short program designed to sensitize you as to what we're doing. We have a list of guest speakers who will be speaking to you on various topics. We have some of the candidates in Region 6. Comprising the parishes of St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. And they are going to, each candidate present will make a brief 3-minute presentation on what their aims and objectives are after they become the members of Parliament and spokespersons on behalf of the party. We also have the chairman of the RECC, Mr. Andre Hilton, with us. He will be giving a brief address. We have also Mrs. Beverly Ann Nisson Duncan, who will be who will also be introducing our guest speaker, who is Mr. Kingsley Thomas. Most of you may not have heard of Mr. Kingsley Thomas, but he's a man of the 90s who made a tremendous contribution to the development of the infrastructure of Jamaica. We also have Mrs. Joyce Perry Jacobs, who will be assisting with some information concerning fundraising activities. So without further ado, we will get the show on the road by first calling on Mr. Andre Hilton, the chairman of the REC, to say a few words, and then he will be followed by each of the candidates who are present in the region and the spokespersons. I will be your master of ceremonies for this evening's proceedings. Thank you very much. Mr. Andre Hilton.
No man do better than that, man. Lord. Sound better, sound better. I want to, it's a hard crowd to manage when bar open, you know. Because when man a drink rum is a serious matter. But I want to first of all correct my friend, Comrade Clayton. It's the Outreach Commission, of which Clayton Morgan is the chairman for Region 6. And we started a high-profile series recently. And I must say that Region 6, under the direction of Clayton Morgan, was the first out of the blocks. And so he's at it again, organizing and introducing positive policies to the people of the West. So I want to give my friend and chairman of Region 6 for Outreach, Clayton Morgan, a round of applause. Functions like these are really geared towards persons who do not normally go to a political meeting. It's unfortunate that some of our people no longer feel comfortable going to a political meeting, whether it is a green one or it's an orange one. So therefore, it is important that we create events like these, where we feel comfortable and we can be candid with each other and give you and others the opportunity to interact with leadership of the movement, to understand the direction that the movement will be taking the country in. And especially in the West, because they say, Clayton Morgan, that where the West goes, the country goes. So the West has a big responsibility to ensure that you put the work in to bring the West or to get the West to go the way it ought to go so that the country can follow. There are a couple of things that are driving down here this afternoon. Is here. I mean, you know, I said Montego Bay is the second city. And I'm not saying we must mirror Kingston, but Montego Bay should be better than Kingston because you're a newer city and therefore you can customize it at a higher level than Kingston. So you have a wonderful opportunity. But I see we don't even have a proper transport system in Montego Bay. Juta is to transport tourists. Yes, we have members of the public running some robots, taxis and so on, but we do not have a proper transportation system in the West. And Michael Phillips, who's a transport man, says that is one of the things that the PNP wants to do in the next election. Establish a proper transport system where stakeholders, the average man in the West, can partake in that kind of industry. So I want to say, Clayton, that this is an excellent event. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share with you, because I know some is no stranger. Or who don't know me, I used to operate Andre's Auto for 35 years on Union Street and East Street corner. All those ladies who went to Mobay High used to stop and fix up them hair in the mirror, you know? So I might be able to come from, so don't worry about that. But I want to say there's a great responsibility for all of us here, the well-thinking Jamaicans, to ensure that you get the information and impart it so that we can take our country. This is bigger than PNP and JLP. It is about Jamaica. And we, the thinkers, must take that into account and make sure we influence those who are around us to make the right decision. Again, if you are here and you wish to volunteer with the People's National Party, the outreach chairman is here. He has a fantastic team that organizes this event. Please let them know. Irrespective of the skill that you bring, we will make use of it in the West, in the People's National Party. So please help us to become victorious, that we can move Jamaica where it ought to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Hilton. We'll move right ahead. The first speaker we'll have to address us, she's a candidate in the constituency of Central St. James, and she's also the party's spokesperson on tourism, Miss Janice Allen, in alphabetical order. She'll have 5 minutes to tell us what her objectives will be after becoming elected as Member of Parliament.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, comrades and friends, as the party leader would say, because you never know where you are. You must be open and inclusive, comrades and friends. Thank you very much, Comrade Clayton, for arranging this very important gathering of people who believe in the future, not just of Jamaica, but in particular of the West. It is important and quite fortuitous that we're having this event today on May 1, because today is May Day. In 1981, after years of work, Montego Bay gained city status on May 1. And the constituency that I am seeking and intend to represent really encompasses much of Montego Bay. The metropolis of Montego Bay really includes the constituencies that Andre will represent, West Central, and what Alan will represent, Northwest. But downtown, the heartbeat of the parish, the city, Montego Bay, is central. Central also is home to most of the housing stock of this parish, and therefore most of those who work in this parish and in this region. We're talking places like Cornwall Court, built by PNP, Rosemont Garden, built by the PNP, so too Cornwall Garden, Farm Heights, and this is where most of our working class population, upper working class, reside. It therefore means that as the Member of Parliament, my duty will be to speak on behalf of the workers of this parish, not just for those who are in tourism and BPO, which make up much of the economy of Montego Bay, but in general, they represent our civil servants, our teachers, our police officers, those who are in the army, those who are in the fire brigade, or nurses, doctors. They make up what is central. So the issues for me, as I have been spending time in the constituency over the last 8 months or so, they are very targeted. Issues like land titling for places like Rose Heights and Green Pond, Salt Spring. These people who found it necessary because of the need for housing found themselves in places that needed to be regularized. And whilst there may be a lot of talk in the media about Operation Pride, I will state categorically that Operation Pride helped to settle those people in Rose Heights and elsewhere, and I shall continue that work to settle in more people to ensure they have a piece of this rock. Housing is a major issue, especially for new homeowners in places not just in the suburban areas, but also in the urban areas. I believe it is important that we invest in mixed-use housing opportunities in places like King Street, Barracks Road, Hart Street, to ensure that commercial and residential can operate seamlessly. And we will be investing in that area, particularly starting with King Street and Barracks Road. But more importantly, as we open up places like Salt Spring, housing investment shall be crucial, and I will identify and work towards finalizing a new housing development in that area in the rich tradition of the People's National Party. It is not just about building homes, it is about building communities. And I will tell you today that it is the hardest thing for us to find community spaces to even engage with residents. Just last week, I tried to put on an event where I would have had a town hall meeting. And unfortunately, finding a community space, the one in Farm Heights, has been padlocked for 2 years. There's none in Rose Heights. There's none in Green Pond. And that cannot continue. If we believe in building communities that will cause people to see and believe in the hope of the future of this country, then we must invest in building communities. I will look to build 5 new, whether new or build on, community spaces in places like Green Pond, Rose Heights, Farm Heights, Portobello, because the people deserve it, and we shall answer that call. I heard Andre speak earlier about the issue of transportation, public transportation. Much of the congestion in this city is due to the fact that we do not have an organized transportation system. It is high time that we expand what currently exists, fit for purpose, to ensure that it answers the needs of the people and ensure that we are managing the flow, the in and outflow of people into the city. A congested city means an unproductive city. And because I believe in the future of the city, then productivity is a major component. I will lead that effort to ensure that a new transport center, which is already part of the One Mobay plan, will be dusted off and implemented by the next PNP government. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born here. I live here and I believe in here. This girl, this Bay girl, shall deliver for the people of St. James Central and the people of Montego Bay. I look forward to your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janice. Well said. Well said. The next speaker, I hope in alphabetical order, try my best, I stand corrected, is Mr. Alan Bernard. He is the party's candidate in Northwestern St. James, and he's also a full-time lecturer at the University of the West Indies. Let us welcome Mr. Alan Bernard.
Thank you very much, Comrade Morgan. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy for the opportunity to speak to you for 7 minutes about my plans for Northwest St. James. Northwest St. James, as many of you know, has a particular kind of culture that permeates the space, wherever, Flankers, Norwood, Salt Spring, Glendover. That sentiment I often characterize with a particular word. It's a constituency that has been traumatized for 23 years. And I use that word deliberately. Those are the conversations that we are having. It's a constituency where the constituents are not happy. They're not happy. And the prerequisite for bringing about any kind of social transformation in Northwest has to be one that addresses this trauma. And so, based on the conversations that we have been having in Northwest, the biggest ask of me as the next Member of Parliament is to ensure that the constituency is safe and secure, that the residents feel safe within the constituency. I am the Deputy Shadow Cabinet spokesperson for social transformation, and that is the mantra. Doing this, I have been doing this in communities with less agricultural land and less infrastructure in Kingston, and it's quite successful. So one avenue through which we'll broaden the local economic base to assist with the social transformation that's necessary for Northwest is urban agriculture. We have already started the process in Salt Spring and Flower Hill. Farmers, yes, farmers in Salt Spring and Flower Hill. We have engaged them. We have put crops in the ground. And we're waiting to see how the production will look from these experimental plots. And the model will be transferred across the constituency. The other area that we're focusing on to broaden the local economic base, and I'm happy that Janice spoke before me because I mentioned this to her. We are looking at the tourism product. We are looking at community tourism. And we're going to be twinning that product with the wealth of creatives that are to be found right across the length and breadth of Northwest St. James. I can't see why Chicken Buck Friday on Nelly Drive can't be an attraction. Can't see it. I grew up in Flankers where Baba Joe is the best restaurant in Montego Bay. It still is, thank you very much. And I can't see why we can't bring the tourism product to the local communities. I was quite intrigued by a study done by Don Robotham. Let me not say a study. Don Robotham shared some information with me. And Don Robotham said to me, Senator Allen, that the tourists only want two things. They want to be connected, and they want a clean bathroom to use. They will sleep almost anywhere. They'll enjoy most cuisines, and they'll really interact in any space. Of course, the prerequisite, as I mentioned earlier, is that the place has to be safe. It has to be secure. They have to feel that level of security. So urban agriculture, because we have the experiences and we have the examples, community tourism are two of the sectors that we will focus on in Northwest St. James. Certainly, the generic components of social transformation will have to be addressed. There are no community centers in Salt Spring. None. I am presently servicing the community in those areas through the churches, and that's fine. But there are no community centers in Salt Spring. And the community is asking for those spaces. They're asking for me to replicate a center that we have in Flankers in Salt Spring. There's a community center as outlined by Comrade Allen in Hendon. In Hendon, yes. That is locked shut. Was furnished and never used. Simply because the governance structures that was required did not satisfy the particular representative that's now in the constituency. And so a center was constructed and equipped and closed. We have to return the play areas and the football field. I am going to say this, and I would love for the media to carry it the way I intend it to be. But we are happy for the security forces' presence in Norwood. But there has to be a way where we can get back our football field and keep them there. Residents have mentioned it to me, and we're thinking it through. And we have some ideas. But it can't be that these spaces are being occupied and the communities do not have access. Comrade Allen, you and I will be speaking to the contractors up at Bottom Road, Salt Spring, who would have taken away the field at Bottom Road. And we have to ensure that when they leave, the field will be restored. Just as how we did in Flanker when they occupied our field, and I ensure that we now have a mini stadium in Flanker. So the generic components that's required for social transformation will be addressed. But because I'm looking across and I'm not liking the look I'm seeing on Comrade Morgan's face, I'm going to sum up by saying that we intend to transform Northwest St. James. But that social transformation will be accompanied by economic transformation. I look forward to your support. I look forward for continuous engagement after this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Bernard. You can see the next member of parliament for Northwest St. James. He is the man who is going to take down Harris Chang. Harris Chang have to go. Harris Chang must fall. And we're going to do everything possible to support Comrade Bernard, to bring him down. And anyway. All right, so without further ado, comrades, the next speaker you're going to hear from is the beautiful lady who is going to take down Edmund Bartlett as Member of Parliament for East Central St. James. Quiet river, old time people say. Run deep. Comrade not read. Read not. Read not. Sir.
Thank you very much, Comrade Morgan, and the organizers of this event. I'm truly blessed to be here this evening. And so I say again, good evening, my brothers and sisters. Good evening. I'll be ably assisted by my best friend right here, because I do not want to miss a beat. I'm proud to stand before you, not just as the candidate for East Central St. James, but also as the daughter of the soil. These soils have shaped me, they have strengthened me, and I understand the struggles, and I'm committed to the future of my constituency. I come to you with a heart full of purpose and a plan rooted in the needs and dreams of our people. Together, we will build strong and resilient communities where families feel safe, supported, and empowered. We will ensure equity and equality in opportunity. And if you know what happens in my constituency, then you know that that is lacking. We'll ensure this because every child deserves a future. Every young person deserves a chance, and every adult deserves dignity in work and life. That starts with access, my friends. Access to proper health care, welcoming community centers, and post offices that we intend to use as instruments, doubling. That means we are going to have our post offices functioning as post offices and also as shipping instruments, bringing services and opportunities closer to our people. We will fix what needs fixing, rehabilitating farm roads to our fertile land. And you know I always boast that East Central has the largest portions of arable land in this parish. We will be creating a quality network and ensuring adequate, reliable, and most importantly, potent water supply for our homes, farms, and businesses. These are the basics our people deserve. But beyond the basics, we are pushing for bold transformation. I will promote entrepreneurship with a restored feature of community tourism, where we showcase our local heritage and a naturally beautiful countryside while creating income and pride. We will support innovation and technology, especially in agriculture and small business development, to prepare our people for the economy of today as well as tomorrow. We will build up agribusinesses, turning what we grow into value-added products, creating jobs, raising incomes, and building wealth within our communities. And I say to us all, especially my constituents, we will do it together. Your voice will shape every step of development through true community involvement in decision making. Strong, united, and thriving. Together, we will transform our communities, restore hope, and renew pride in whom we are and what we can achieve. I am Rochelle Reed Knott, again I say to you, and I'm ready to serve. Let us rise together, and I crave your indulgence to propel with Rochelle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Reed Knott. Principal, I should say. She's a teacher, you know. Principal in Somerton. Okay. Moving along, comrades. The next person you will hear from is another lady candidate. And this one is the one who all Jamaica is talking about, because a certain man in the Gleaner 2 Sundays ago predicted, I might as well call him name, Gordon Robinson, predicted that, him said this is one year a butter. But I know also, because I am from that constituency, so I know the runnings up in Maroon Town, Flamstead Point, Maroon Town, and Chovy, Catadupa, Cambridge, Summerhill. And then I come from, right? And I tell you, Garland, who that, Comrade Kelly? Yeah, the councillor for the Welcome All Division. By the way, that my old man was the councillor for that division some years ago. So, we don't know, say, that the one day, unless by some divine misprovidence, gone home. But anyway, let me welcome Comrade, and I think I'm correct in saying the opposition spokeswoman on information, Nikisha Burchell.
Hello, everybody. Look like I'm a little short for these microphones. Oh, no, can you see me now? All right. I'm Nikisha Burchell. I'm the PNP's MP candidate for South St. James. I'm also the Information and Public Communication spokesperson for the PNP. I want to say hello to Councillors Kenroy Gordon, Councillor Swaby, Councillor Martin Kelly, and Comrade Reddington McIntyre. So all 4 of our divisional representatives are here tonight. A round of applause for them. So I'm a pastor's daughter from up in Garland, and I'm a politician. So you know, if you put microphone in front of me, we'll be here from now till tomorrow morning. So what I did when I learned just now that I needed to speak is I wrote down a few things. So a couple people came over to talk to me, and I was really into my phone. I'm going to go through it because I don't want to miss anything, and I don't want to waste your time either. I stand before you not just as a candidate, but as someone whose story was shaped by St. James. I was raised in this parish. I went to school here. I was strengthened by its values. And I carry with me everything this parish poured into me. But I've also seen the gaps, I've seen the challenges, I've lived through the struggles of our parish. I've had to walk barefoot to school on broken roads that have not been fixed for years and years and years. I've had to suffer the indignity of not being able to be born in my own parish. My mother had to travel out of St. James into St. Elizabeth to welcome me at a hospital that could cater to us. I've had the opportunity to see firsthand the struggles in the parish, and therefore when I speak, I'm not speaking as an outsider, I'm speaking as a daughter of this parish, a daughter of South St. James who understands what it takes to bring a constituency out of the pits it's currently in and on a path of progress. So many of the students I grew up with in my own family, most of my siblings have migrated, and I can't wrong them. Maybe it's me laying ahead to still be here, to still want to try to do something for my parish, for my community, and for my country. The opportunities they hoped would have come their way, they haven't come, and so they've gone to, dare I say, greener pastures. That is why I have worked with my team to develop what we call South at Heart. HEART is an acronym. We use it to say how we want to see South St. James transformed. And acronyms are easy because you can follow them and you can tap into the story for the better South St. James you want to be a part of. H is for heritage tourism. We are sitting on untapped resources in South St. James. Our cultural legacy is so rich. From Flagstaff Maroons, you know, the first Flagstaff settlement for Maroons is in South St. James, to Catadupa, birthplace of Samuel Sharp. We have such a rich legacy, a rich cultural legacy, that we can package that, package our pride, package our product, and sell it to the world. We can become the eco-tourism destination in South St. James. E is for education and training, whether it is in the primary schools, the basic schools, high schools. We deserve our fair share of the best educators Jamaica has. A lot of our educators from South St. James aren't even employed in South St. James. They service other communities and other schools. We believe we should at least be able to retain our best and our brightest. That's what a former Minister of Finance said. We believe that with proper investment, we can have digital education in South St. James as well. But we don't have internet access in most of our communities, even in 2025. For us, education is a lifelong continuum. We want our farmers, our housekeepers, our workers, our students, our wives, our husbands, our farmers, again, to feel comfortable to go back and join the education train if they feel the need for it without embarrassment. The PNP provided an avenue for that before, and we're going to make sure that anyone who wants to learn to read and write can find that in South St. James. A is for agriculture. Yeah. We are the agriculture mecca of St. James. I'm sorry, Rochelle. Yeah, we're full of land. South St. James takes up 52% of the parish of St. James. We're big and we spread out large. We have lands that can make us wealthy. We know how to plant yam, banana, afu. We know how to plant the seasonings, the ginger, the pepper, the scallion. And we want fair access to the markets. We want fair access to the hotels in the city. And we want opportunities to package our products, not just as raw materials, but to process them into jams and spices and sell them to the world packaged, made with love in South St. James. R is for roads and infrastructure. I can't even talk about that too much because all the constituencies in South St. James need roads and infrastructure. But our biggest problem in South St. James is water. Water is life, and we've been blessed in South St. James to have some of the best sources for water. But would you believe, in at least 2 of our major communities, water is pumped out of St. James into Westmoreland and into St. Elizabeth. And the communities that host the sources don't have water in their pipes. We want to fix that for our people. We believe that our water is good enough for others. It's good enough for us. Give us first dibs from our sources. T is for thriving communities. We want to create opportunities where the young people can teach the old people and the old people can teach the young people. Time come for that. We want to have bingo halls again and domino stations so the old people can feel like they don't need to sit home and just languish away until they die, but they can come there and learn how to write an email and do a video call and find out that AI stands for artificial intelligence and tap into that intelligence and lengthen their lives. We want the young people to learn from the older folks how to be good, decent citizens, how to take them hand and turn fashion, how to make a cutter, how to stitch a dress, how to hem a frock. We want to create green spaces so our children can play safely. They don't have to set up cricket pitch in the middle of the street and risk their lives. We have land in South St. James. We want our community centers to come back and to come back stronger than ever. But no plan is good enough if it's just on paper. A plan is as good as those who will action it. And if one thing is for sure, or 2 things is for certain, I'm an action woman. I was born in poverty and I'm not gonna die there. But I'm not gonna escape poverty alone. I wanna take my sisters, my brothers, my neighbors with me. You being here tonight means you believe in that vision. You believe that people in South St. James need an opportunity to see the light. I ask you, please partner with us. Help us to transform our South St. James into the promise Sam Sharp dreamt of when he lit the flames of freedom from Catadupa all the way down to St. James. God bless you and thank you for coming out.
Wings to fly.
Thank you very much, Comrade Nikisha Burchell from the hills of St. James. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another beautiful candidate, but this time further west in the parish where them say no labor right no there, as was evidenced in the last local government election. And me say so it go. Hanover, this comrade is an attorney at law and is the lady who is going to become the next member of parliament for Western Hanover. Let us welcome the beautiful Heather Miller.
Good evening, good evening. What a set of people, they look nice. Una most comrade. Chairman, friends, family, it is a pleasure to be here this evening. I hail from Western Hanover, a little community named Kendall. I don't know how many of you have heard of Kendall in Hanover. It's a small community that thrives on agriculture. It's a small community with a lot of talented people. I am from a family of service. My call to duty was propelled by the hopelessness I saw. I went away to school and I returned and I set up business. Every day I had to travel through my parish, every day. And when I traveled from Lucy straight into Negril, the roads are bad. You see sufferation. You see the people on the street just wanting help. So my call to duty was propelled by the hopelessness I saw and the need for proper and effective representation. I am from a family of service. My father, who was a counselor, a long-time counselor, gave of himself. My family, I'm from a family of teachers. They give of themselves. So it was easy when I saw that hopelessness to give of myself for service. Western Hanover has always been that parish that they say is the forgotten parish. A parish rich with cultural heritage, tourism, resources. A parish rich with talented people, but it has been called the forgotten parish. But I stand here before you tonight to say that will be no more. I put myself forward because Hanover will never, ever be termed the forgotten parish when I become the Member of Parliament and Mark Jefferson Golding is the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Western Hanover is a parish that I intend to grow. How will I do this? One, through wealth creation, innovation, a shared vision, and honest leadership. I will deal with wealth creation. What is wealth creation? I believe in empowering people. I believe in giving the people the tools to create wealth. We can do this through entrepreneurship and business growth. That is, helping small business to develop, providing opportunities, providing the resources, or even the know-how how to get there. I believe through agriculture, we can see wealth creation. We can look at Hanover has been one of the industries, agriculture has been one of the industries in Western Hanover. And I believe that can be used as wealth creation by looking at agriculture and value-added production. How? Supporting farmers with incentives, creating processing facilities. We have a lot of land spaces. Creating processing facilities that can assist them. Hanover, many of you will know, is or has been one of those parishes that marijuana has been one of those crops that for many decades they have been farming. What has happened? With the legalization of the industry, I believe that can help as one of those value-added products by, one, creating cooperatives, creating opportunities that can be used to help many of these farmers, putting them together by themselves, they possibly cannot do it. But providing opportunities for having derivative products from marijuana. We can look at tourism and economic diversification. That is revitalizing one of our gems in Hanover, which is Fort Charlotte, which has been out of operation for some time. We can look at community tourism. We can look at expanding one of our parks, which is the Watson Taylor Park, to create recreational spaces and also an opportunity for tourists to visit as well. I go back to Fort Charlotte. It's one of the best harbors, underutilized, not used, but I believe through my leadership, we can revitalize Fort Charlotte. I see a vision where we can have cruise ships start coming, a marketplace where people can shop. We can create a promenade from Lucy straight into Negril, beautifying that stretch. That road has been so bad. I believe it's time come for those things, for Hanover to be the parish that is no longer referred to as the forgotten parish. Using innovation. Western Hanover, I believe progress depends on innovation and using technology to drive economic growth. How do we do this? By fostering an environment that nurtures and drives positive change through technology. One of the strategies I believe how we can use innovation is through agriculture and sustainable development. Like, for instance, investing in hydroponics, aquaculture, and horticulture. Supporting an eco-friendly business environment and renewable energy. I believe renewable energy is essential for any growth of any parish, and we ought to. And I know under the Mark Golden-led administration, this will become a reality where renewable energy, access to using renewable energy will be encouraged. Training and innovation is key. We have a lot of, if you come to Hanover, you have a lot of young people who, they will tell you that, Miss, when I leave school, if I go all the way and maybe I come college, my parents can't afford it. I believe in setting up a community college in Western Hanover is key. I believe in training our young people to meet the needs of a growing environment is key. Training and opportunity and development will be the key to wealth creation in Hanover, one of. It is essential that we partner with other training institutions because we can't do it alone. And so some of these already existing institutions, I will be encouraging to partner with us. Heart Trust NTA, UWI, partner with us to train our young people. I mentioned infrastructure development, the roads. Road is bad all over, but I think Hanover is one of the worst. Infrastructural development is needed in the parish. And it's one of the reasons why I decided that it's important that I go forward. Water. I grew up in a little district called Kendall, and when I was growing up in Kendall, we were never out of water because there was a little place called Dam, and the water would feed from there into all our pipes. Currently, we have to buy water in that district, and that's only one part of Hanover. If you go right throughout the parish, that has been a cry. We need to look at how we expand our water system. We need to look at how we deal with the infrastructure as it relates to water. Water is key. And if the people cannot get water, I remember walking on one of my walks. I went to a house, and a lady was in the back, and she refused to come out to me. And she said to me, "Miss, me not really want to see no politician, you know. Me not want to see no politician because of how much they know, me not get forbid. And me not make no sense, me come out, they come talk to you because we're not getting no water up here, and the last time I buy water, me cannot afford to buy it." To me, that is something that every Jamaican should have access to. Clean, portable water. And that is one of the things that I will be emphasizing, access to water, readily and easily. Shared vision. By communicating a compelling vision to my constituents, I believe this will help in how we plan and execute anything in the parish. You must get buy-in. You must know what are your needs, my needs. I may see the needs, but that may not necessarily be the needs of the particular community. And so consultation is key. Talking to your people is key, knowing what they want. Every part of Hanover is different. Every district of Hanover, there are some things that are basic and common as I go throughout. However, there are uniqueness to each district. And so talking and communicating with the people is important. Land titling has been an issue in that part of the constituency, in that part of the parish, Western Hanover, where persons have lived on properties for many decades. And as an attorney, I believe I know that will be at the forefront of any plan that I have, because having land title is a form of empowerment. Honest leadership, yes, I'm almost done. Honest leadership. We have seen the lack of accountability that exists in this country. And I believe in honest leadership. I believe if you go to serve, you should serve with integrity. You should serve with honesty. And that is what I will bring to my people. Transparent governance, public consultation, open budget discussions, and fair resource allocation. Education and reform is key, and that comes with honest leadership. I can't leave without telling you how I will support the women. Looking at women in business, providing funding opportunities and mentorship for women so that they can start their own business, encouraging investment in sustainable business for long-term growth. My people of the region, my vision for Western Hanover is not just a vision, it's a commitment to action. I will provide strong leadership, looking at community collaboration and a shared vision. We will have a parish, a thriving parish, modern and inclusive. I am Heather Miller Bennett, and I will be the next Member of Parliament for Western Hanover.
Thank you, Heather. No doubt about that. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the final candidate. As far as I'm aware, who is going to present to you. He is the next Member of Parliament for West Central St. James. He is also a lecturer at the University of the West Indies. And he is a unique personality. And if I may say so, he's also a very lucky man because he don't have a candidate to run against. Him almost going to run solo because the whole world knows. And I'm speaking without fear of contradiction. That is a one-horse race so far. Them say, you know, have the candidate till election day, but sometimes you have to hedge your bet based on where you see they go on. But you have a candidate everybody know, but nobody can see. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to bring to you the next Member of Parliament and Minister of whatever it is in the next PNP administration, Dr. Andre.
For that dramatic introduction, Clayton. Montego Bay, it is good to be here. Let me first and foremost big up my campaign team, Councillor Kerry Thomas, Councillor Michael Troop, our councillor candidate in the Spring Garden Division, Warren Murray, as well as my other team members, Maureen, such a lovely lady she is. All my well-wishers, good evening. Tell the mayor that he has until the 6th of May to put back my posters or give account to the ombudsman. And we say that very seriously. And when it passes the ombudsman, we're taking it to the courts, the Privy Council, and the Supreme Court even. Because what we're witnessing in this parish is a very trivial approach to leadership, a very trivial approach to politics. And we believe that they are disguising the political victimization under the auspices of the power of the parish council. Fellow Montegonians, fellow comrades, fellow well-wishers, what I truly desire for this parish is to rid itself of its triviality and to begin to internalize and recognize that Montego Bay has far more potential than that which it has displayed over the past decade and a half. What I want, fellow Montegonians, is for us to have real ambition. Not just petty ambition like the development of a Harmony Beach Park or a perimeter road. But I want us to have real ambition of not just being called the second city of Jamaica, where our people serve tourists and where we have our people calling through business process outsourcing, but where our young people believe in themselves and are given the necessary foundation, not just to be servants, but to be creators of technology, creators of innovation, and to be real creators of change and development for our great city. When you look around you, Montego Bay has been evolving, right? We have moved from an agricultural economy throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s to a country now that is accommodating technology in all its forms. And you see it around you. We have the Barney Tech Park, and within the communities, we have created small hubs where people can have livelihoods. We talk about the tech park that Councillor Troop and myself were built in Pitford, where young people have a place to gather, a place to learn, and a place to understand where the world is going through technology. The idea is that what we've seen thus far is a start, and a very good start. But as the race continues, we need to build on that start and to move Montego Bay from just being considered as a tourism destination, from just being considered as a business process outsourcing destination, to a place where we push towards knowledge process outsourcing, to a place where our young people are integrated into the foundations of technological learning and the foundations of innovation, where we can consider ourselves a modern metropole and not just the second city of Jamaica. If you look around you and you watch the news, the world is changing. So countries are now internalizing their productive efforts and internalizing their ambitions. If you look at what is happening with England and Brexit over the last decade and a half, England has been withdrawing itself from the EU in order to build itself as a great nation. If you look at the policies in China, they have recognized that in order to compete globally, they must equip their population with the necessary knowledge and expertise that they need to be the producers of this modern world. If you look even at America, with what Donald Trump is doing, though not seen as the perfect economics by us as outsiders looking in, but there's an attempt to bring back industry to America, to bring back livelihood to America, to bring back the productive efforts to America, and he is making a stance. If you look at what is happening in Africa with Ibrahim Traoré, he has expelled France from his constituencies, expelled the colonizers from the productive efforts of his country. He has also expelled the donors and the international lenders from participating in the modern development of his country. These are just examples of how developed and developing countries around the world are putting measures in place to ensure that their citizens are not only servants of this world, bringing food on a platter to tourists or answering calls to satisfy demands of what foreign nationals need, but they are being provided with the necessary underpinnings of technological advancement that these countries need in order to move forward. Jamaica must do the same. And Montego Bay has an important role to play in this modern development that Jamaica must embark on. We must not just see ourselves as a second city, trying to be secondary to what is happening elsewhere. We must see ourselves as a modern developing city, rooted in the development of our people, rooted in the empowerment of our people, rooted in creating wealth for such remarkable people who make this city what it is. And I must say, there are still many of us who believe that we must maintain the dogma of low education so that we can become or maintain our riches and our wealth. But if you recognize across the world, it is not about sharing a small pie. It is creating a bigger pie that can be shared amongst many more people. This is where Montego Bay ought to go. And this is where we see ourselves as a nation of people, a nation that is embedded in the bowels of the Caribbean belly, a nation that has the potential to be the hub of Caribbean trade and commerce, a nation that has a strategic location that the pirates used to navigate themselves across the length and breadth of the Americas and to reach strategic locations quickly and very expeditiously. Montego Bay as itself must recognize that in order for us to create wealth, in order for us to maintain our status as a modern metropole, we must empower our people with the necessary knowledge and expertise that they need to participate in where the world is going. I cannot overemphasize the fact that Montego Bay has untapped potential. And I say to you, Singapore and Jamaica export a container of chips. The value of Jamaica's container of chips, 100,000 US dollars. The value of Singapore's container of chips, 100 million US dollars. The difference here is that Jamaica is stuck in a banana chips mentality, while Singapore has voyaged into a microchip mentality. We have to bring these issues to the fore because in 1950, Jamaica was a more developed country to Singapore. Singapore was a swamp just being annexed from Malaysia, just being dissected from their mother country who they depended on so much. So they had to make a conscious decision. Who are we as a people? What do we demand? And where do we see ourselves going in the next 50 years? 50 years down the line, Singapore economy is valued at US 550 billion. And if you take other countries with similar population size to Jamaica, Ireland, their economy, 500 billion. You take other populations similar to us, Israel, their economy, US 525 billion. What is the value of Jamaica's economy? 17 billion US dollars. 17 billion US dollars is a small drop in the bucket compared to our potential. That 17 billion, when you divide it by 3 million people, it gives us a GDP per capita of just about 7,000 US dollars. In order for us to be considered a developed country, we need to double that 7 billion to a mere 14 billion, just a billion over the threshold that the World Bank and the United Nations set for us to be considered to be a developed country. Let me say that again. GDP per capita in Jamaica is just $7,000. In order for us to be considered a developed country, we must double our GDP per capita from $7,000 per person to at least 13,000 US dollars per person. 14,000 when you talk about purchasing power parity. And we have the potential to do so. We have the capacity to do so. We just do not have the ambition to do so. What I've seen from our politicians is mere trivial approach to leadership. So we take photos at events. If a road is being paved, we take a photo. If a school is being opened, we take a photo. Not the laborers, they haven't built any schools. Most of the schools are built by the People's National Party. And we must own that because we are the party that understands that knowledge is the root of modern development. And we cannot overemphasize the fact that Jamaica is at a critical juncture in our modern life. It is not just about paying lip service to what is happening and giving comments to what is happening and taking directive from outsiders and people who do not hold us dear to our hearts. It is for us to recognize that as a nation, we have the ability, we have the potential, and we must use this ability and our potential to our greatest benefit. Our young people are ambitious, and if we do not provide for them the avenues for which they can generate wealth legitimately, they themselves will create avenues for which they can create wealth illegitimately. And we have seen where that has brought us. That has brought us to a lot of chaos. That has brought us to increased crime and criminal activity. It is time now for us to take control of our city. It is time now for us to take control of the future of our people. It is time now for us to recognize that the government currently in power does not hold our citizens dear to their heart. They believe in their own wealth. They believe in their own selfish objectives. They believe in their own ambitions for themselves and their families. So that is why when I do my research, the two most fundamental variables that impact the productivity of our people is one, our human capital deficiency, which is the level of education of our people, and two, the level of corruption that has plagued this country over the last 10 years. And we must begin to recognize that the success that countries have engineered over the last 50 years, over the last 60 years, over the last 70 years did not occur by chance. It was a properly orchestrated, properly engineered, properly planned approach towards the management of the people of their countries. In 1950, technology represented only less than 1% of China's GDP. Today, technology represents over 32% of China's GDP. If I were to ask you what percent of Jamaica's GDP is technology, none of you could answer that question. And that is the most fundamental question any country can ask itself in 2025. Today in 2025, Jamaica, who was a developed country in 1950, is still stuck in 1970, while China, who was an underdeveloped country in 1950, is now living in 2070. That is a point for us to introspect in ourselves, to say, who are we as a people? What do we want for our country? What do we want for our city? What do we want for our citizens? And I say to you, my fellow comrades, we have failed our people dearly. And it's not about the politics. It's about the leadership that the politics have overshadowed in so many ways. And I myself, as an academic, has made the sacrifice to join the realms of leadership for this country. And you know what people say? Please, when you're going to politics, don't change. Because politics have changed so many of you. And they message my phone continuously on a day-to-day basis. Andre, try to maintain yourself. What does that say to you as a Jamaican? I don't know what it says to you, but I know what it says to me. It says to me that there are a set of house slaves, a set of wannabes who pretend to be leaders, disguised under politics, and use their position to overpower the rest of the country, to rob us of our budget, to build. It is so disrespectful and disheartening what I have seen from the leadership of this country. And as a young man, I am ashamed of the country. I am ashamed of the leadership of the country. And many times I get the podium and I do not speak about it because it's just lip service. I am just waiting to win, to make the difference. Because I say to you today, the Andre you know from 1982 is the same Andre you will know in 1990. And the Andre you know from 1990 is the same Andre you know in 2000. And the Andre you know in 2000 is the same Andre you know in 2012. And the Andre you know in 2012 is the same Andre you know in 2025. What could come over me to adopt the dirty, illicit ways of these politicians that I myself despise so much? And I must say it because I joined politics not as a politician, but as a leader. But being in politics, I have recognized how conniving these people are. How and it's where there's no light from KFC to walk on our tourism strip past Aguasal Park all the way to Margaritaville, the place dark like midnight. I say to you, where Sam Sharp's Quarries has not developed since they built those statues. St. James Street has not changed since they built those statues. We live in a dirty city, and instead of cleaning up the city and evolving the place, the mayor is concerned about tearing down my posters because the JLP see the People's National Party and myself as a threat to them and their dominance in Montego Bay. But alas, the slavery mentality that these leaders in Montego Bay have, the disenfranchised of our communities, the suppression of our communities to state of emergencies and zone of special operation shall be no more, because we believe in the potential of our people, and we believe in the education and empowerment of the people of Montego Bay. And through that, we will create civilized persons who understand that crime is not the way to create wealth, who understand that belittling your neighbor or shooting your friend is not the way to create wealth. We create wealth through harnessing our potential, through improving our education, through giving ourselves the opportunity to exfoliate our knowledge and to live in a community that is equipped with the necessary infrastructure that our young people can explore their full ambition. And that is why I decided to offer myself as a politician in Montego Bay. Tell the mayor, forget about the posters, focus on the development of the city. The city is dirty and the city needs modernization. Listen, since I've been here, I've been on a program to make Montego Bay safe. SAFE. And we have our website, it's called asafejamaica.com. You can check out the work that we've been doing. S is for sports. And you've seen the sports and the sporting activities that has been taking place. We use the sports to bring peace to Granville. We use the sports to bring peace to Montego Bay. We use the sports to bring peace to Mount Salem. The arts is for art, the A is for arts and artistry. And we've held a lot of pain for peace. And we've created platforms where those of us who are artistic can use our skills and generate income from those skills. The F is for financial literacy. And you've seen my financial literacy classes. You've seen them on the internet. That is what we are doing in these communities. And the E is for empowerment and economics. And that is the foundation of the development of these communities. I am the Shadow Minister for Science, Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. And I believe that we now have to invest in the science of the country. He spoke about it. Alan came here, he spoke about it. We understand what it is going to take to move a nation of such remarkable people from the bowels of poverty and the job creation that Andrew Holness focused so much on, to the depths and the heights of wealth where Jamaica and our people belong. The idea is that we must become the new technological hub in the Western region. We have to continue to forge partnerships with India, to forge partnerships with China, to forge partnerships with our African brothers and sisters, because whilst Jamaica represents a market of just 3 million people, Africa represents a market of over 1.2 billion people. So we have to reintegrate ourselves. The triangular trade that left from Africa to Europe to the Caribbean must now become a linear trade directly from the Caribbean to Africa. And that is what we are here to develop. That is what we are here to maintain. And I say to you, my fellow comrades, that this is just the beginning of a new nation. This is the beginning of real change. And this is the beginning of a foundation that Jamaica must lie in order for us to re-engineer the thought process of our young people and create wealth in the mission. Love and blessings, everyone. More big up to you.
Well, well, well. What a belly full. Let us give him another round of applause, comrades. A young man full of promise. Jamaica's next member of parliament for West Central St. James and minister of whoever. The next prime minister, Mark Jefferson Golding, deems it fit. Well, comrades and friends, let's move on. We are now going to have a short, shall I say, intermission, but a short break into a musical interlude, very short, and thereafter we are going to have a brief fundraising session. We're going to have someone here who is very experienced in fundraising in international and local organizations. Someone who knows the ins and outs and the necessities of fundraising. And we are going to, don't move from where you are, soliciting your assistance in helping us to pave the way forward to have these young comrades from whom you have heard in helping to finance their way forward. Now let me hasten to add, we're not going to ask you for any checks. We're not going to ask you for any money tonight. All we're going to do is to sensitize you to the need of having fundraising in the political organization. We're going to hand out some forms to you, some fundraising pledge. You notice I said pledge and put a underline under the word pledge. Pledge forms. We're going to invite you to fill out those forms at your own leisure, but before you leave here tonight, and hand them in to people who represent us, who will be moving among the crowds. And I ask Comrade Jerome Darnells to be on guard to collect these pledge forms, and then in due course we will be in touch with you to find out. Now, a very important component of these pledge forms is that it's a new phenomenon. It's in kind, K-I-N-D. Because what we have come to realize in the history of this party is that a lot of persons, comrades and otherwise, have been willing and able to contribute, but they don't have any money. And we have come to realize from experience that it's not money alone that win elections. We need other things. For example, we need motor vehicles. We need lunches for delegates, indoor and outdoor agents on election day. We need what? Tents? We need tents to shelter outdoor agents from the rain. Let me rely on you. What else we need? We need stationery, which include pens and pencils. What else we need? Phone card. We need phone cards. What else we need? Controls. What? Umbrellas to in case rain fall. by election day or nomination day. What else we need? What? Eh? What's it? Oh, rain. We need raincoats. Yes. What else we need? We don't want no dibby raincoat, do you know? No tear up raincoat. What else we need? What? Orange cloth. What that? Fabric. To do what? What? Oh, to make banners and flyers. Yes. What else we need? Eh? What? Venues for what? That? Venues for what? Oh, food. Yeah. Some of you might have restaurants, or some of you might can prepare some meals in your house and tell me if you come and pick it up. Figure the indoor and outdoor agents. What else we need? What? Venues, Pastor. I can't see you. I can't see. Venues like this to do what? To do what? I'm not sure about that one, but all right. Venues. What else? What? Oh, gas. Gas for motor vehicles on election day and nomination day. You probably have a favorite gas station or a friend who can say, all right, give this man here $5,000 worth of gas. Yes? What else? All right, it look like we're going to run out of gas. All right. So, things like that. So, cheers for what? Oh, for the tents. Okay. All right. No problem. So, we are going to ask the Mrs. Joyce Perry Jacobs, who is the doyen, that's the right word, of the PNP Women's Movement. Not yet, Joyce. Hold your seat. Yeah, to come to the podium to organize that. But before we ask Joyce to come to the podium, we're going to have a brief, Mr. DJ, interlude of music to sort of allow me to go to the bar and have another drink. And then come to the podium to say a few words about fundraising. And we're going to hand out some forms, some fundraising forms. We're going to ask you all to fill them out. Make certain you put your name, your email, and address if you would like to contribute. We're not forcing you. If you want to remain anonymous, no problem. As a matter of fact, if tonight, before we leave this venue, you want to give us a check towards the People's National Party fundraising effort, we are willing and able to accept it. As a matter of fact, I go further than that. If, pardon me? What? Eh? Are doing what? Anyway, if you want to even have tax exempt for your contribution, I am a lawyer, and we have other lawyers here like Mrs. Miller. We can help you get tax exempt, and if you want to remain anonymous, we also have a box, and we can help you to do that. We'll have these forms handed out to you. Make sure you don't leave the room tonight unless you fill out one of those forms and hand it in to one of our representatives, and we will contact you. Okay, thank you very much. Mr. DJ, your time. Gentlemen, again, I plead to you. I crave your indulgence. Modus operandi of the fundraising. And then immediately thereafter, we are going to bring the guest speaker, Mr. Kingsley Thomas, to address you. So please, again, I am asking you, ladies and gentlemen, please. Can I crave your indulgence to have your seats? And then we will do so. And the chef is authorized to begin to set up the buffet so that you can begin to prepare the buffet. All right, if you have already started, fine. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring to the podium Miss Joyce Perry Jacobs to do the fundraising. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, comrades. Good evening, laborites, if you are here. Good evening, friends. I know that many of you don't know me, and you're wondering, who is that woman? Well, this woman was born in Bickersteth, in South St. James. Grew up in Lances Bay, went to Westwood, and then migrated to the United States. And there I found my passion. My passion was fundraising. Because I can't see anybody. And so it's a little difficult. I know they're there, but I feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay. I have always been involved in doing good. I'm not saying that I am good. I said I'm involved in doing good things. And to do good things, you need money. And so I have raised money for the arts, for social services, and a little bit of political activities. However, I'm here now and I'm working with the People's National Party. So I want to talk to you a little bit about why you ought to support us. First, I want to say, I wonder how many of you really listened to what the candidates said. And I wondered if you were impressed with the slate of candidates that we are presenting. Can anybody tell me? Have you been impressed with what they had to say? Do you? And so if you want them to become members of parliament, we have to support them financially. And why do we need that? Because it takes cash to care. There are things that are necessary. I know that some of you know because you are workers in the political structure. But we have to do things like canvassing. We have to do things like getting out the voters on election day, which is very, very important. Last election, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this. Last election, 37% of Jamaicans voted. that means that the 37% of Jamaicans decided who our government would be. No, I think that that has to change, don't you? Don't you? It has to change. So, but to make that happen, we have to go out, we have to talk to the voters, we have to explain to them what the People's National Party wants to achieve. We have to convince them that we have new activities separate and apart from, I don't want them to think that we are in the 1970s. In the 1970s, we did some good things, but we are now in 2025. So, we have 10 constituencies in this region. 5 in St. James, 2 in Hanover, and 3 in Westmoreland. So there are 10 constituencies. The last election, we didn't win 1 seat. So right now we don't have 1 MP representing this whole parish. That's not good. We have to change that. So I'm going to ask you guys to help us change that. I want you to support us financially. I want you, based on what you heard tonight, based on what you have heard some of our caretaker or spokespersons saying, I want you to go out and tell the world that the PNP has some good ideas to make Jamaica a better place, the place that we want to live and raise our children and do business. The other thing is, with what is happening in the United States right now, I don't think that we in Jamaica can depend solely on tourism or remittances, because that is going to change somehow. So we have to come up with ideas. We have to come up with ideas that we can broaden our development and let Jamaica grow. I feel so uncomfortable because I can't see. So, if you really liked what the candidate said, I am pleading with you to make your pledges tonight. In fact, I'm going to close the door and I'm not going to let you out of here until you all make pledges. I'm kidding. I'm really kidding. But there are ways that you can do it. You can do it as an individual. You can do it as a business person. And as Clayton explained to you, you can do it in cash and you can do it in kind. So there are people walking around with pledge cards. Nobody's listening to me now. There are people walking around with pledge cards. I implore all of you to make your pledges. Clayton tells me that the goal is $20 million. He tells me that the goal is $20 million. Because there are 10 candidates, and that is only $2 million per candidate. And that is nothing. The election is going to cost them much, much more than $2 million each. So, if you think, and I know most of you in this room know that the People's National Party is the best party for Jamaica right now. So, I'm asking you all to dig deeply into your pockets and make your pledges. And in fact, Clayton says you don't have to write a check tonight. If you want to write a check tonight, do so. Anybody would like to say that they want to make a pledge? Is anybody willing to announce that they're willing to make a pledge? I know they have a form, but is anybody willing to make it known? I guess not. Eh? They are, okay. So please fill out your pledge forms, and we will get in touch with you when the time is right. Thank you very much. Because me couldn't sing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, papa, yeah, papa. Africa unite, cause we're moving right out of Babylon, and we're going to our father's land. Yeah. How good and how pleasant it would be before God and man, yeah, to see the unification of all Africans, yeah. Has it been said already? Let it be done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that by now all of you will have received your pledge forms and you will have completed them. If you have any difficulty in completing them, or if you have any questions concerning them, please feel free to contact me personally or a representative. I'm going to ask the chefs. I'm going to ask the chef, Councillor Swaby, and his assistants at the bar. I'm going to ask the bartenders, to stop the serving now. And the chefs and the servers to stop the serving of food now at the end of the line. Because I'm going to ask for your undivided attention. And I'm going to ask respectfully for all of our guests to take their seats, because we are about to invite our guest speaker to come to the podium to deliver his address. He's going to be introduced by Comrade Beverly Anderson Duncan. And we wish to have your respect while he is addressing us on matters of importance. So again, I'm calling on the bartenders and the chefs to cease all serving of drinks and food immediately. And I'm going to respectfully request all guests to have their seats until after the address of our guest speaker and the gentlemen, for your kind cooperation. You're reminded that this event is being broadcasted live on BOJTV and also on the social media channels, including YouTube. And friends who are listening and watching are encouraged to contact us if you wish to join us in our fundraising efforts. At this time, without further ado, I'm going to ask Comrade Manley Duncan to come to the podium and introduce our guest speaker, who is Mr. Kingsley Thomas. Thank you very much.
Good evening, comrades. Good evening, comrades. Am I among comrades? Am I among comrades of the greatest political party in the region and beyond the region? A party that was founded in 1938 and still going so strong that we're looking forward to being in power again before the end of the year. That's how fabulous we are. And we can only be fabulous if we as individual members know who we are and are therefore fabulous, knowing how much power we have, right? And we have one thing that I'm going to ask you to work on, and it is something that the person I'm introducing, Kingsley Thomas, definitely has. Gonna ask the bar, it's all right, you can drink and keep quiet. Practice that, man, practice that. Because we have to give some respect to our guest speaker, who has made some sacrifice to be here tonight because of who we say we are. If he didn't respect us, he wouldn't be here. So I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you. Just keep it down a little bit. But I just want to say that there's one thing that I think, for me, sums up Kingsley Thomas. Apart from the obvious things like public service, and he has served at almost every level. Graduate of the University of the West Indies, but that was only the beginning because his education took him wherever he wanted to be. When I think of Kingsley Thomas, I think of somebody who is very much aware of our history of slavery and colonialism and what they did to our minds. I want you to hear me again. Many of us are not even aware because it has been done so skillfully. What they did to our minds. And I sat there as I thought about what I would say in introducing him tonight. Not just his resume, where he went to school, where he was born, although that was very important in socializing him. But he got a gift from God that made him understand that his mind has been poisoned, like all of us, because of our history. And the great thing about it, we can clean it out and emancipate ourselves. You get it? So I'm asking each individual in here, I know all of us mean Jamaica good, and all of us know Jamaica can go from, I don't know, as far as we decide we want to go. We don't have to promise, we don't have to tell lies, but we can make commitments. And a commitment, in a way, make a commitment is a serious thing. It's much bigger than a promise. And I'm going to ask even our candidates, all of whom spoke so well, and it was good to see them tonight, don't use the word promise. Promise has developed a very nasty kind of odor. Because we just chat. Commit. Say, I commit to. When you commit, you have to keep your word and make sure it happens. And that is what Kingsley Thomas reminds me of. Apart from the fact that, you know, I don't know if he's even in my age group, because the age group I'm in, I'm older than most people in anywhere I go now, you know. It's so funny. Don't know if it's there yet, but I want.
Oh yeah. But oh yeah. Alright. Well, they tell me of a pie up in the sky, waiting for me.
Why you play that music in the middle of the talk?
But
Andre.
between the day you're born and when you die.
And the music is good in what we used to have a group of people who played music right across Jamaica, and they know exactly when to put in the music. You remember those days? Can we? I can't compete with the music. Anyway, Kingsley, come join me. Kingsley, come Kingsley, come join me. I was going to say, whoops. What age group?
I'm good.
What age group?
Eh? I'm 76.
Oh, he's a youth. He's 76. I'm 83, so he's a youth. And he's still going. Fantastic public servant. Every time you hear anything about Kingsley, the word conceptualizer comes in. And why I wanted to say tonight that we have a commitment. All of us in this great People's National Party have a commitment to be the best that we can be. He's a fine example of that. I remember when he conceptualized the concept of the infrastructure concept of the highways. Every time you drive on it, remember this man. He had to deal with his mindset that we're only capable of patching road or whatever. If he was alone in seeing those highways, he was alone in seeing it. And today we see, we can come here tonight and go back tonight to Kingston in 2 hours. There's a time when you come in Mobe is all 4 hours, not true? So I want now to introduce to you maybe the finest example of what a good comrade can be. Somebody who is committed to Jamaica. Somebody who keeps his body fit. You see him? 76 and I don't see no belly. And wherever I go, I praise people, men and women, who know the importance of looking good. People like to, when you're talking, people like to look at you and say, boy, she look good. Not true. You know what? Because God don't like no ugly. So those of you who need to get fit between now and September, maybe between now and this week, I don't know. We're gonna have some work to do, the like of which we have never, this is my opinion, never seen in Jamaica. So all the people who talking PNP, and you ask them what you're doing to win, and can't tell you, get them out there to win. Because the JLP is no ordinary organization. They have everything mapped out for us because they are convinced that they are not going to lose this election. And we need to lift our level up. And above time come, what we want to say and what we want to commit to doing is everything that is possible for us as human beings. That come September, we are the governing party once again in Jamaica. And I want you, when you look, what a feeble clap that door, not sound like, you know? That clap not sound right. That's better. So, I would just like to say thank you very much to all who put together this event tonight, headed by Comrade Clayton. We are very happy to be here. We have to keep the vibes. We have to keep the vibes going because today you can be up and tomorrow you're down. We have to find a way to have sessions like these on an ongoing basis. So Kingsley, yes, Andre, I know you're telling me to shut up. Yes, Kingsley Thomas, come below, hold my hand, give me some of your strength. I now present to you the man who you could call a Renaissance man. Maybe he don't like that, but that's how we see him, okay? In his mid-70s, still going strong and making sure that whatever we need to do in terms of a message to the Jamaican people that he will give us tonight, we are going to win the next election and the one after that. All right? So let me hear it for Kingsley Thomas. Let's give him a real Region 6 welcome. Thank you, comrade.
Comrade Beverly Mandy, thanks very much for that introduction. Somewhat passionate, but somewhat true. I would like us all to give a round of applause to the 10 candidates that we heard from tonight. I think that they were excellent, extremely excellent in what they spoke about in terms of their plans for their various constituencies. I also believe, and we heard them, the emphasis on communities, the development of communities, which is critical for any country to grow and to prosper. I was invited by Clayton, and I must commend Clayton and his team for hosting this extremely interesting event. A mixed audience, I would say, and that is why I did not start out by saying comrades, friends, and everybody else. Because a political movement cannot succeed by talking only to themselves. They need, or is there something taking place? Okay. The point I'm making is the bridge and embrace the other team is basically learning from history. Something which I have guided me throughout my entire 40 years of public service, broke at times by working overseas and by working in the private sector, is a point which was made by the former Prime Minister, Comrade P.J. Patterson, at an event which was hosted here by Clayton, when he said that you can be affiliated with a political party, but your allegiance must be to the country. Must be to the country. And so I am not in any way afraid to say tonight that I am affiliated with the People's National Party, but that my allegiance is to Jamaica land we love. And that should be the guiding principle of all of us here. In fact, I thought that we would have received some people from the other side, Clayton, tonight. We did. And it's good to have individuals who support the other side to hear the message of our candidates, of Sister Bev, of Comrade Clayton, to get a clear feel of what it is that a government formed by the People's National Party will deliver for the people of Jamaica. And not some of the people, but all of the people. All of the people. Now, I have been identified with several projects, as Sister Bev has told you. But there's something which is happening in the country where a tale, a narrative is being developed as if nothing was done by the People's National Party government for 18 years. A narrative which seems to be taking root in certain areas. So let me just highlight a couple of these things. The Montego Bay bypass, for argument's sake. The Montego Bay bypass. That was a project which was conceptualized and developed at the Development Bank of Jamaica while I was the CEO. In February 25th, 2003, February 25th, 2003, after serious negotiations, the government of Jamaica signed an agreement with the government of Malaysia for the construction of the Montego Bay bypass. That was done in Malaysia on February 25th, 2003. The government of Malaysia committed to fund the project, which then was estimated to cost 70 million US dollars. 70 million. That was the cost which was estimated to build the Montego Bay bypass. Substantially along the same route that it is being done. 70 million. The government of Malaysia committed to fund 60%. 60% of that, or 42 million, with the Jamaican government only have to put in $28 million. It's a generation, 20 odd years have passed, and that is when the highway, the bypass, is being constructed at a cost 4 times that which it would have costed us in 2003, 2004. From 70 million to 280 million. 4 sevens, not 28. Thanks. But what is happening is that there is a total disconnect. It's as if that project was not conceptualized by a previous administration. That is what is happening. That is the narrative that is being spread around the place. As if nothing was done during the People's National Party's term in office. That nothing was done. It has even got so bad. And I'm not using the term bad mind. You understand? I leave that for other people. they are changing or have changed the name of Highway 2000 so as to not associate it with the period of the People's National Party to Trans-Jamaica Highway. And I would just like to say something to my candidates. And this is, you have to think outside of the box. You have to dream. You have to come up with ideas to solve the problems. You are going to face a lot of obstacles along the way. A lot of obstacles. I remember when I first mooted Highway 2000, everybody said it was a crazy idea. They called it a highway in the sky. Well, of course, there are areas where the highway is in the sky, but they thought it was a dream. And so, you will come up against obstacles, but you have to have a commitment. You need to have a passion. You need to have a drive. You need to have a team. You need to have the energy and the confidence that what you intend to do, what you plan to do, is for the betterment of the peoples of your constituency and of Jamaica. I am not a political speaker. Far from that. Right? Far from that. But when I look at what is happening in Jamaica today, I'm sure it must give most people a serious cause for concern. Serious cause for concern. The level of disorder on the streets. I see videos of the traffic in Montego Bay. Andre mentioned the whole thing of transportation in his presentation, right? But I have a theory. And the theory is, and Clayton might disagree with me here, there is this phrase, law and order. Okay? But it is my view that order needs to precede law. And I believe there needs to be a sort of code of conduct for people to abide by. The rules of life, the rules of living. We can go back to the 10 Commandments or some other code. And if those codes and rules of conduct are breached, that is where the law comes in. To punish or to deal with those who do not follow the order that is laid down. And Reverend Sam Stewart have a tune that is very popular now. Send it back. Yes, and I think we have, but we have to watch that because I understand that its origin was with slavery. I mean, but we have to watch how we use that. Though it's very catchy. But my interpretation or my version of it would be to reverse the course, not the curse. Reverse the course, because it is clear that the course we are on is not resulting in an improvement in the quality of life for the majority of Jamaicans. And I'm very I apologize. I'm extremely passionate about my country. I could have been overseas, working elsewhere, but whoa. Can you hear me? I stay here because I feel, I'm on borrowed time now, right? As I try to tell people, I still have a brain, and I try to tell people that I only age from my scalp up, right? You seem uncomfortable with that, Sister Mary. But we have to understand that as is, the country is just not in a right place. The state of the nation is not good. It's not good. And they say in public speaking, you must try to get the audience participating. So I'm going to ask a question. But I don't want you to answer. I don't want you to answer. I will ask a question and then request how you answer. The question is, are you happy with the conditions in Jamaica? If you are not happy with the conditions in Jamaica, those of you who are seated remain seated, and those of you who are standing keep standing. So it is clear, Clayton, that everybody here is unhappy, because those who were seated remain seated, and those who were standing remain standing. So, I will not burden you. I came with a different text, but I would just like to point out just a couple little things which you can do individually, collectively, with a team. Little things which can transform the lives of individuals. I recall in 2004, the Minister of National Security came to me when Commissioner Macmillan, Colonel Macmillan, was the Commissioner of Police. The fleet of cars should have been 1,216, and all the police had was 216. 216 out of that amount. And the minister passed my office one day and saw a whole heap of vehicles. But I'd got those vehicles on that program to do some agricultural work in the hillside of St. Andrew and St. Catherine. But I said to the minister, if you want cars, tell me. I will organize cars for you. And by the time he reached his office, I had sent him, that time it was fax. I sent him a fax with a proposal for 15 million US dollars to have brought in 850 motor vehicles and motorbikes in 2004. And that was done 4 months after he and I spoke. A lot of people thought it was impossible But as I say, you have sometimes to dream the impossible dream. To fight the unbeatable foe. We need to have the passion. And one of the things, I don't know if anybody here remember, but the audience is much younger than I am. You remember when all the police cars were black and white? Okay. Well, when those 800 vehicles came in, I wrote to the Prime Minister, I wrote to the Minister of National Security, and I wrote to the Commissioner. And I had a design with the crest and the thing and everything to make the fleet more user-friendly. And Commissioner Macmillan responded and said, yes, go ahead. And that is how we have all of these decals now on the vehicles. But a funny thing is, you know, the orders of the police force still say that they should be black and white after 20 years. After 20 years. Right? So what I'm saying is this. And by the way, you know, at the time we were under an IMF agreement, a very strict IMF agreement. Strict IMF agreement. And so how we had to design the thing is, if the bank bought the vehicles and lease it to the Ministry of National Security. If we had a 5-year lease, it would be captured and capitalized, right, as a loan, as a liability. So I can talk now, because what we did is came out with 5 360-day leases. So every year it was a new lease. And that is how we managed to deal with it. So for every problem that we face, there are multiple solutions. We just have to have the confidence that we can do it. We need to have the passion, we need to have the will, and we need to have the guts to sometimes know that you're going to fail. It's not all the time you're going to succeed. It's not all the time you're going to succeed. Let me just go back one moment to Highway 2000. Did you know that Highway 2000, which was considered a madman idea, has now seen over 50 million toll users? And did you know that the East-West Corridor, which is run by Trans-Jamaica Highway, in the history of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, has paid the second highest dividend to the public, the second highest dividend after a certain ban. But if you know what you're doing is right, if you know that in the medium and long term it will turn out proper, then go ahead, put your head down and do what you have to do. Let me come to Montego Bay. I'm from Antrovy. Went to Antrovy Primary School, went to Cornwall College. And let me tell you this. They said that a friend of mine the other day, I told him I'm going to Mobile. He said to me, Montego Bay is a nice place to come from, but not a nice place to go to. And I asked why, him said, boy, the place, mash up, traffic, the whole city has deteriorated. And we are not short of plans to improve Montego Bay and its environs. Years and years and years of plans have been done. But what has happened? There has not been the level of continuity in order to make those plans a reality. I don't know how many of you will recall, Janice, that there was this institution called Tourism Action Plan, TAP. It was developed under a JLP administration when Hugh Hart was Minister of Tourism. Maurice Facey was the chairman. It became an organization which collaborated with the chambers of commerce of all the tourist capitals, with the chambers of commerce developing in association with the technicians plans for each of the tourism resort centers. The chambers also assisted with the financing of those plans. The Tourism Action Plan. They did the following. St. James Street, I don't know if Dave or Allen will recall or whoever. St. James Street was cleared of all the vendors. The sidewalks were tidied. And what happened? They even put in period light, the lampposts of that area. I don't even know if they're still there. I don't even know if they're still there. So what I'm saying is this, that is not a question of want of plans. There have been plans, right? What is required is continuity in those plans, the monitoring of what is happening. We can't continue as a country by just changing things without having the type of outcome that we desire. TAP also had a resort patrol. You recall that, Peter? To prevent harassment of the tourists. A resort police force headed by Colonel Leslie Lloyd to ensure that the harassment of tourists was mitigated in a very professional manner and, eliminated if possible. Tourism Action Plan also put up information booths in the tourism capital. I think the only one that is remaining now is across from Turtle Beach Towers in Ocho Rios. So what I'm saying is this, we already have the template. We already have the template to ensure, to implement significant changes to our tourism centers. One thing on tourism, one other thing on tourism. Everybody hear about this Tourism Enhancement Fund? They have a saying, you see. They have a saying that failure is an orphan. Oh, thank you very much. That failure is an orphan, but success has many parents. Well, here are the facts regarding the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Here are the facts. documented facts. I went to a conference in the Dominican Republic, and the party, about 8 people, they decided after the conference to go to Antigua for watch cricket. I decided to go into the capital of Dominican Republic to talk to the tourism interest there. And a couple of months before that, you may recall an American Airlines plane leaving New York City to Denver, crashed, killing 257 people. But when I checked the figures, the arrivals to Denver continue to increase. So I asked the tourism officials with whom I met, how did this happen? They said they called in all of their tourists, the tour operators, and said to them, I want you to keep and increase the presence of DR on the front page, in their ads and so on. And the tour operators asked them, so who's going to pay for it? There was an entrance fee when you go to Dam Rep. You fill out a little piece of paper, tourist card, cost cents to print, but you have to pay $10 for it. That $10 went to the government. The government said to the tour operators, instead of we keeping that money, you use that $10, right? And fund it. That was how I learned about this tourism card. And then came back, I spoke to IATA, I spoke to the Airline Remittance Corporation, which dealt with remitting the funds from the thing, from ticket sales, the clearinghouse. And I met with the Minister of Tourism, tourism officials, tourism stakeholders, and they accepted it. I wrote the cabinet submission. I assisted in writing the parliamentary paper. And I would just like to say one thing. The current Minister of Tourism objected to the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Go and check Hansard. I have it. Right? One of the things, however, that was very critical is that the proceeds of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, which currently brings in close to $30 million a year to Jamaica, should not be used for recurrent expenditure and PR and travels overseas, but should be used to develop the tourism capitals like Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Negril, and also critically, attractions. But here's the shot. One of the projects we developed had to deal with reggae. Jamaica is known as the reggae capital of the world. But where can a tourist go to see a high-performance reggae show? In Cuba, you have Tropicana. In Mexico, you have folk, what do you call it? You used to those places. Folkloric or something like that. And at the Louvre, you have the same type of thing. where you have 2 or 3 shows per day. We developed a whole choreographed program where we would train dancers. We would have, in fact, by then I had negotiated the purchase of the wharves from Hamden, and the theater would be in one of those wharves. And we have everything down pat. And one of the things I'm trying to tell, Mr. Siaka wrote a big thing from reggae. We wrote a big thing from reggae from scatter reggae, right? And I got it from him. I gave it to one Mrs. Brewster from England, right? Who came down to do all the choreographing and the, and it was called Wake the Town and Tell the People. I still have those documents with me, right? Because those are the things which the TEF is supposed to fund, to increase the number of and quality of attractions, to increase the number and quality of attractions. So when someone comes, I have nothing against all-inclusive. I think it's a product. But when someone comes and stays in an all-inclusive and goes on some tours which are, they do experience Jamaica. And I remember speaking to a guy up in Atlanta, he's an automobile salesman. He said he has been to Jamaica 5 times in no 3 years. I said, where did you go? He stayed in the hotel. I said, well, you have not been to Jamaica. You have not experienced Jamaica. And so, what I think we have to do, and I would suggest to the aspirants for political office, is that we look very, very seriously, and I think Janice has spoken about it on several occasions, to integrate tourism into the Jamaica culture, psyche, and lifestyle. And I'm not talking necessarily about community tourism, which is being touted. No. I'm saying that there has to be attractions which bring to life our strong features as a musical destination of the world. And I promised you that I would follow the teachings of Annie Palmer, that I would not keep you long, which is what she told her husband. So, it is my view that the lawlessness, disorder on our streets, roads, and the incidents of violence in our schools, that these must stop. And it can be done with the will and the passion exhibited here tonight. Our educational system needs to be significantly improved, producing graduates suitable for the world of work and well prepared for the technological changes that are taking place. This must be done, and it can be done. And one of the reasons why I'm happy to see somebody like Dr. Andre Horton involved is the link
between academia and the real world. Andre, the great Mao Zedong, called it praxis, where you mix theory and the practical. And that is what I think you bring to the table. You bring to the table. You bring to the table. Because currently, I'm a part-time lecturer at the University of the West Indies. I lecture final year engineering students in accounting and finance. And let me tell you this, our educational system is in a crisis. I get rationale for it, I mean, 50% of my students failed my exam, the course. 50%, 50%. But let me explain something to you. Somebody else who was teaching logistics told me that 75% of his students failed. Because there is a mistake between, and they ask them to analyze something. Instead of analyzing, they describe it. One has to think. One has to think. So, the improvement in our educational system must be done, and with the energy, it can be done. There's an urgent need for the improvement of the physical characters of the second city and other capitals of tourism. We can't wait. Time is not on our side, as Andre pointed out in his presentation. Certain world events are dictating that we have to take our own future in our hands, build and become resilient to external shocks. Am I misquoting you, Andre? Thanks very much, sir. 'Cause I never like to lie in public. We have to insist that the Tourism Enhancement Fund reverts to its original mandate and must be used to improve our main towns, develop attractions, and that all of this must be prioritized to ensure sustainability of our tourism sector. This must be done, and with the will and the vision, it can be done. I know that Janice will be, and both Janice and Heather will be happy about this one. There is also an urgent need to transform squatter communities in the environs of the towns of the West by providing affordable and adequate housing for workers in the tourism industry and other sectors of the Jamaican economy. And I see where a hotel, I think it is the Princess, I don't like to call names, but just built in Green Island, Cousins Cove, I think that's where it's located, has decided to build several units for the workers. And I'm sure based on the passion that Heather has for this type of community development, that she may have had a hand in that effort. And so, the final thing, and it is this. There was a thing which some old Cornwallians will remember. It was started by, not started, but it was led here by the former Custos of St. James. It was called moral rearmament. Anybody remember moral rearmament? Then it was taken over by Teacher Cook. You were not born yet. Well, let me explain something to you. What is the guiding principle of moral rearmament? The guiding principle of moral rearmament is that morality, integrity must be practiced as the key path for the betterment of peoples of the world. So Jamaica, in my opinion, needs at this time a moral rearmament. A moral rearmament. From uptown to downtown. From King's House, you said it. As the chairman pointed out, I'm on camera. So look here. I've been long enough. We need to do not believe that we cannot achieve certain things. There will be obstacles in our path. There will be those who say it cannot be done. There will be those who say you are mad. But as I quoted the song, to dream the impossible dream, one, and there was another song, Sweet Harmony. Who sang that one? Andre, you know music. Smokey Robinson, when he said, I believe in miracles. If I dream, it can be done. And so I urge, cajole, exhort, beg of the aspirants to represent the peoples of St. James, Hanover, and Trelawney, and Westmoreland. You don't cover Trelawney. But I saw somebody from Trelawney here. So, for these three parishes, I exhort you to think first of what you want to do, consult with your constituents, come up with a plan agreed to by all, and prepare a roadmap for its implementation. There was one MP which did this, who I worked with, and he did it. His name was Jack Stevenson. He died in a motor vehicle accident, right? But he was Deputy Minister of Tourism. And I'm saying to you that do not let it be felt that you cannot achieve. You cannot make your dreams into a reality. I'm not used to bright lights, you know, man. Anyway, so with that, I wish luck to all of the candidates gathered here who made excellent presentations. There's just one way, based on my experience in the political arena, and Sister Bev will confirm. It is not social media. It is not big ads. It is walking the ground. You need to walk the ground. God bless you, and thank you for listening.
Mad something. Hey, follow me now, see ya now. Hey, upset her. See how upset her.
Check. Warm and easy.
Thank you, Mr. Kingsley Thomas, Mr. Conceptualizer. Thank you very much for that inspiring delivery. DJ, I'm going to spin something now for Comrade Manley, Duncan. Are you? And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have a little feature for you. Entertainment by the one and only Miguel.
So right about now,
who is here, and he's going to do something for Portia, former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. After this, you did it.
Him saying he did it. So right about the man is in the house and his name is...
You're going to do anything live, Miguel? Yes, and for audience, we're going to do a little live entertainment afterwards, and then we're going to do the vote of thanks. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you have completed your pledge forms by now. And please, before you leave, hand them in to one of our receptionists before you leave. Thank you.
Five, four, three, two, one. Yeah. Clocking in.
I call you when I need you. My heart's on fire. You come to me wildly wild. Oh, yeah, come to me. Give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises in a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. Oh, this can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it stronger. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. We're better than anyone. Just anyone I've ever met. I'm stuck on you. Oh baby, I would rather be there. In your order, see the star every night and every day. away. Just as long as I'm near in your arms, I could be no better love. You're simply the best, better than all the rest. We're better than anyone, anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on you. Ain't gonna hear me what you said. Tear us apart. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, I would rather be dead. Each time you leave me, I'm still losing control. Walking away with my heart and my soul. I can feel even when I'm alone. Oh, baby, don't let go.
Watch it, man. People in my go and go, not true. I want them, give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause right about now. I wonder if him got another song around there that he can perform for us. I wonder if he has. Do you? Him say, I find the next song around there. Who is that? Nikisha. It's from South St. James, you know, man. Him come from one place, so no, Asgard or Jackson. Where you come from again? Flamstead. Yeah, man. So I am guessing that Nikisha mobilized him to be a part of this program today. So he's going to do this. Take it away, Miguel.
Yes, man. Can I dedicate this song to you?
Yes, buddy.
Okay.
Let's make some noise!
I definitely loving the vibe, loving the energy. In case you're really there, so you're not make some move, you're not supposed to move. You're really there, so you're not supposed to do that. Well, so we can't turn it in a party, you know?